Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
If you are interested in supporting this podcast and at the same time getting all my episodes ad-free, then please head to my website, 3dprintingbasicspod.com. Again, that's 3dprintingbasicspod.com. There you can find all the links to support me, my affiliate links, and as a perk, you can get all my episodes ad-free if you subscribe on Patreon, Spotify, or Apple Music. Again, all my links will be there, as well as a contact form if you have any questions. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome back to 3D Printing Basics. This is episode number 42, and in this episode, I'm going to be going over the lawsuit that is going down between Stratasys and Bambu Labs. Before we get into it, I would like to mention that if you have any questions or anything that you want me to answer, please feel free to head over to my website, 3dprintingbasicspod.com. There's a contact form. Feel free to fill that out, and I'll make another mailbag episode using those questions that I get. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always open. I will respond, and I appreciate any questions that I get, as well as I appreciate the support that I get from you guys. My audience is the absolute best audience in podcasting. I challenge anybody. My audience is the absolute best. I appreciate you guys so much. The support has been really awesome, and yeah, I just appreciate you guys. I figure since this is coming out the day after Thanksgiving, I should tell you guys that I'm thankful for you. So thank you to every single person that has listened to any one of my episodes. You guys are truly the best, and you mean the world to me. With that being said, let's get into today's episode. Okay, so my plan is to just kind of go over the basic points of the lawsuit and then give my opinion on it. But I will say that 3D Printing Today, which is another 3D printing podcast, they made a really nice episode about this entire lawsuit. They dive into it and they talk about it. So please head over to 3D Printing Today, that podcast, if you want a more in-depth review of this lawsuit. But basically, the gist of this lawsuit is that Stratasys, which, if you don't know, is a 3D printing company that's been around for a lot longer than Bambu Labs has been around for, they filed patent infringement lawsuits against Bambu Lab. They filed this in August 2024, and basically what they're saying is they're accusing Bambu Labs of infringing on 10 of their patents, which include commonly used technologies like heated build platforms and purge towers. And so basically what Stratasys is saying is, hey, you're copying us, you're infringing on the patents, and they're demanding either compensation or that they stop their product runs altogether. And this is really interesting because in October, so just last month, they dismissed charges against two different defendants, which is two different Chinese 3D printer manufacturers. And so it's just really interesting that they sued multiple different companies, but then dropped the charges against two defendants while also keeping the charges against Bambu Labs. It's very interesting overall. This episode is brought to you by PCBWay. Ready to take your electronics projects to the next level? PCBWay offers everything you need, from custom PCBs to 3D printing and even CNC machining, all under one roof. They're trusted by engineers and makers worldwide for their exceptional quality and fast turnaround. And here's a special deal for listeners of 3D Printing Basics. Use the promo code 3DPrintingSquared, SQUARED, to get $10 off your first order. Start your next project with PCBWay and see the difference for yourself. Head over to PCBWay.com today. This episode is brought to you by Sculpteo. Are you ready to bring your 3D printing projects to life? Look no further than Sculpteo. Whether you're a hobbyist, designer, or business owner, Sculpteo's on-demand 3D printing service has you covered. With over 75 materials and finishes to choose from, Sculpteo helps turn your ideas into reality with precision and speed. Plus, as a listener of 3D Printing Basics, you get an exclusive deal. Use the promo code 3DP_basics_10% at checkout for 10% off your order. Don't wait. Take your creations to the next level with Sculpteo. What's also interesting about this is the specific requests from Stratasys. They are specifically requesting a jury trial, they want compensation for damages, and they want an injunction to stop Bambu Lab from selling certain products in the United States only, which to me seems a little interesting. I am in no way a lawyer. Please do not take this as legal advice. But it's just interesting to me that you would only want a company to stop selling certain products in a specific region. Obviously, the United States is going to be the most popular region when it comes to 3D printing. But I don't know. It just seems overall a little nitpicky if you ask me. Now, my thoughts on this is just very interesting. It seems pretty clear to me that Stratasys just got scared that Bambu Labs is blowing up the way that they are in the recent years, and they wanted to try and sue them to see if they can stop their growth so that Stratasys can maintain its grip on the 3D printing market. And that's not to say that Stratasys is the dominant player in the 3D printing market, but if they found any legal way to hold back Bambu Labs, then I'm sure they would want to do it so they can hold on to their market share. So basically what they are saying is, hey, we have patented the heated bed, and now Bambu Labs is using the heated bed, so we're going to sue them and try and get them to stop selling any printers that have a heated bed. And that's something that's very interesting to me because heated beds have been very common for a long time. And so to me, that's like Stratasys is unwilling to defend that patent against other manufacturers. But as soon as one comes along that could pose a serious threat to their market share, then they suddenly decide like, oh, it's time to defend this and time to sue somebody. So basically what they want is they want to kick Bambu Labs out of the US. They want them to either stop selling their printers entirely or basically somehow make a printer that doesn't have a heated bed, doesn't use prime towers, and doesn't infringe on any of their other patents. And one reason I think that this may not work is because of what I just said, their unwillingness to defend it in the past. In the past, however many years that Stratasys has had this patent, it seems to me like they have never defended or never sued anybody before Bambu Labs. So the judge might look at this and say, hey, this has been going on for a long time. Why did you just suddenly pick Bambu Labs after years of not trying to sue or stop other people who also use this same thing? And in the patent world in the United States, there are things called prior art. And what prior art is if this thing that you have patented existed before you quote unquote invented it, then that patent is no longer just. It doesn't make any sense because you're not patenting an invention that you created if somebody else had already invented it before you came along. And there is some news. There have been printers before Stratasys even came out with anything. There are printers that had a heated bed, so that immediately would nullify one of their patents, and that would hurt their case a lot. Because if Stratasys came along and was like, hey, we invented the heated bed, but then Bambu Labs came out and was like, hey, this printer came out before you even existed, and this had a heated bed, so that's actually not true at all. A jury would look at that and probably be like, hey, it seems like you just want money and you just want them to stop doing that, so we're not gonna carry through on this lawsuit. And another reason that this overall just seems a little bit strange to me is the markets that they're both in. Stratasys printers, 3D printers, they're industrial. They cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. And to me, they're in a completely different market than what Bambu Labs is in, where they sell printers that are at the most $1,500 and go all the way down to $200 or $300, and they're clearly marketed towards the hobbyist 3D printers. So it seems interesting to me that a company like Stratasys, whose mainstay is in the industrial space, would come along and then try and sue somebody who seemingly is in a totally different market. And I understand maybe they're scared of Bambu Labs coming along and creating industrial 3D printers and catering towards that market and then taking their market share. But overall, it's just very interesting to me. And it seems to me like this would just create a lot of negative press towards Stratasys because the 3D printing community, it's pretty small, and I feel like there's a lot of commonalities between people in the 3D printing community, and we are very much in touch with each other. I feel like it's a very tight-knit community and people talk, and when people see a company like Stratasys coming along and trying to essentially sue Bambu Labs out of the US, they're going to look at that pretty negatively. And I wonder if these people who would potentially grow into huge businesses like myself and maybe consider buying a Stratasys down the line, I don't know if, just using me as an example, I don't know if I would buy a Stratasys mainly out of spite, because I would look back on them and I would be like, oh, you guys tried to sue Bambu Labs out of existence, so what kind of company are you? And that's just something to think about. And I think the main quote unquote issue is just the negative press that this brings towards the 3D printing community. It makes me really sad because the 3D printing community, the main thing about it is open source. You know, the first 3D printers were open source. Open source is such a huge deal in the 3D printing community because so many of us like to tinker with our printers. We like to modify them. We like to add upgrades. We like to customize them. And it just stinks that a company would come across and essentially try and close that up and infringe on our ability to choose which kind of printers we like, especially Bambu Labs, which is, you know, obviously it's the number one name in 3D printing right now. They've come across and they've done a great job with their 3D printers. And it just stinks that you would see a bigger competitor come along and try and sue them out of existence. It just feels like any other kind of corporate world, and I feel like it paints 3D printing in a negative light. And that's something that I obviously don't want. I want 3D printing to be viewed as a positive, very fun 3D printing community that is very enjoyable and very welcoming to anybody that wants to join. And whether that comes with companies or whether that comes with people, I still want it to be the same either way. I wouldn't want a company to come along that maybe wants to take the 3D printing world by storm, but then be scared and not do it because they're scared of being sued. The same, I wouldn't want a person to come into 3D printing who's thinking about joining, but then you have bigger, more established 3D printers around who are like, oh, you know, don't do this, don't do that. And then they might lose their confidence and not want to join. And that's just something that I think 3D printing is all about. It's all about inclusivity. And so once you start suing people, and once you start creating lawsuits and trying to get people to stop creating different products, I feel like that inclusivity starts to get damaged. And that's essentially my opinion on this whole situation. Is I just think that this community is all about inclusivity, and it really sucks that you have a big established 3D printing company trying to come along and take that away from us. So if it isn't clear, I'm definitely rooting for Bambu Labs to hopefully win this. It's going to cost millions of dollars in lawyers for both sides, and I don't know if they're going to settle. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm definitely rooting for Bambu Labs, and I'm hoping that they come out on top in the end, but that's just something we're going to have to wait and see. Maybe I'll make an update whenever this is resolved, but that's basically all I have. Thank you so much for listening. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you next time.